Hey YouTube. So today is Lughnasa, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do today. Um, Today is, for those of you that have been watching my channel for a little while, is the 16th anniversary of the day that I was chosen to serve the goddess, the Morrighan. And it actually began on a night much like today. It was much warmer than it is today. I've actually just read an article that said that scientists have confirmed that for the first time ever, human activity has actually caused a change in the Earth's seasons. So it was actually even before Lughnasa on 2002. And I was kind of bored. I was actually in the process of preparing a short, simple ritual script for the day that follows, which was Lughnasa proper. And while I was doing it, I was sitting on the back step of the house, and I was sort of gazing off at a cornfield across the highway. And after a few minutes, once the sun had set fully, I noticed that a farmer perhaps, was setting up fireworks, which really touched me because it just underscored the importance of harvest celebrations around the world, and whether or not the farmer knew the importance of the day that was essentially dawning. I don't know, but it was meaningful to me at the very least. And that night and the night after, I was actually besought by dreams and visions of the Morrighan, awaking really with her name on my lips, and I have been serving her ever since as a priest. So I was thinking today, or not today, but I was thinking yesterday, about what I wanted to do, and I really have no ideas this year. Other than the fact that I may end up baking some zucchini bread for y'all, because I have the best recipe for zucchini bread you have ever had. At least I hope I'll be able to make it. It really requires a kitchen scale, and I have one of those, but there's a battery issue with it. And one of these days I really have to find another one of these ramen jammas because it's so pretty, and my altar just doesn't seem complete without a second one. So the next time I get to Des Moines, I am trotting right over to the at-home store and finding one more. At least one more. But before I get on, I really wanted to recommend some of the better books out there on the subject of Lughnasa. So if any of you are in the market for some books, you cannot do better than this book. This is The Festival of Lughnasa by Mary McNeil. Oh, it was McNeil. Who was an Irish folklorist and studied the festival extensively. Also, there is this amazing book by the late professor of folklore, Lughnasa. I consider all of his books obligatory if you've never read them. This is The Lore of Ireland, an encyclopedia of myth, legend, and romance. Then there is this volume from the Silver Bow, Volume 2, A Calendar of Scottish National Festivals, Cannabis to Harvest Home by F. Marion McNeil. It's got wonderful data in it as well. There is also The Year in Ireland, Irish Calendar Customs by Kevin Downer. Now this book, when I found this book, it was actually at the Half Price bookstore. I was browsing through the ancient history section, and I turned around and just happened to look down at a section of the store that I had never really paid much attention to, and it was sort of the Irish Scottish section, and lo and behold, there was this book, and my jaw dropped when I saw it because I knew precisely how valuable it was, at least online. At least at that time online, I couldn't find it anywhere for less than $70. I'm not sure how much it goes for now, but when I brought it up to the checkout, because it only cost me $6 then, I thought for sure they would say, "Oops, sorry, there's been a mistake with the price. You're gonna have to pay way more if you want this book." But thankfully, I was charged $6 and ran out the door and ran back to my car like I had just gotten away with thievery, because in a sense I had. I was so thankful to find this book, because anyone that writes about the Sabbat cites this book. Another really interesting book that mentions the Celtic calendar customs is Nerys Patterson's second edition. It's got to be the second edition because it's not in the first edition. But it's his book, Kettle Lords and Clansmen, Social Structure of Early Ireland, by University of Notre Dame Press. Also, it's not entirely related, but it's got some really great underlying themes in it that are really important to the study of Lughnasa, because it's the festival of first fruits, and that's precisely what I think the first chapter is about. Yeah, it's a history of first fruits, and that is Sharing with the Gods, by Theodora Sukfong-Jim, by Oxford University Press, and it's a really good book. It's the first chapter is rather dense, but it's well worth going through. And of course, from the Wiccan and pagan side of things, there is the classic 8 Sabbats for Witches by Janet and Stuart Farrar. One of my favorite books. I was really happy to find the hardback edition. I would also recommend Laurie Cabot's book, Celebrate the Earth, but I can't find my copy right now. It's around here somewhere. Maybe upstairs, maybe downstairs. I don't know. My books are just a disheveled mess right now. I'll probably be able to find it when I finally go through my library and reorder all my books after me and my brother get some library shelves built, which hopefully will be soon before it gets too cold anyway. I've wanted proper library shelves for a very long time. So here's hoping he follows through. Alright, so as I was getting the this baking segment set up, I decided to check some of my messages, my Facebook and email messages. Oh, and if you notice the difference in the quality of sound, that's because I had forgotten to attach my Rode mic before I started filming this morning, but it's attached now. Anyway, what can I say other than, honestly, folks, the blessings are everywhere. So long as you know where to look, that you keep an open mind and an open heart. I got a really powerful message today from the goddess, letting me know clearly that she's in my life, that we have a wonderful relationship with each other, that she's there for me when I am in need. And I know that because a friend of mine, whom I haven't met in person yet, just happened to tag me in a photo of the Morrighan that also included an invocation to her. And this friend of mine had absolutely no idea that Lughnasa was my anniversary with the goddess. But he tagged me in this invocation anyway, and that meant so much to me that it can't be anything other than a direct message from the goddess herself. So I would really like to read this invocation to you. Excuse me. It was actually created by someone at DeviantArt. The username is cut off the image, so I'm not sure who. I think the last few letters are DOWVN, maybe? Anyway, the invocation reads, Morrighan, Morrighan, 3 times 3. Hear the words I ask of thee. Grant me vision, grant me power, cheer me in my darkest hour. As the night overtakes the day, Morrighan, Morrighan, light my way. Morrighan, Morrighan, Raven Queen, round and round the hawthorn green. Queen of beauty, queen of art, yours my body, yours my heart. All my trust I place in thee, Morrighan, Morrighan, bless with me. And that moved me in indescribable ways, because every once in a while, when we work with a deity, there are times when we often feel disconnected, or maybe as if the goddess or god in question isn't always hearing us. And it's really good when these sorts of synchronicities fall into place to let us know that yes, the goddess is still there, that she is, that they are still part of our lives. So I really just wanted to share that with you. And if you would still like to continue watching me bake up a little bread for Lughnasa, you're more than welcome to hang around for the ride. But if not, that's fine too. So until next time, my witches, keep calm and witch on. Alright guys, so the first step you want to do, which is really the most labor intensive step of the whole process, is after you have cut off the ends of the zucchini, you want to slice them in half and then scoop out the seeds with a spoon. It's really super easy. They practically just fall out. You can discard them, or if you're like me, I'm saving them to grow for next year. Then you want to, using the large holes on a box grater, you want to shred the zucchini over a bowl in on top of a digital scale, so that you have precisely 1 pound of shredded zucchini, skin and all. Although if you're examining the skin and you see some sketchy spots, just take a paring knife and just cut those off, no problem. But you want to shred that until you have exactly 1 pound of freshly shredded zucchini. Then, using either a dish towel or several pieces of paper towel, you want to wrap this up in one of those things and squeeze it until you have at least half a cup of zucchini juice, which you can just discard or add to your stock pot if you're doing a vegetable stock. And then just set the squeezed shredded zucchini aside for a moment. Alright, now what you need to do is measure out 2 cups of flour and whisk together the dry ingredients, which is half a teaspoon of salt, which I have already added from the consecrated salt on my altar. as well as 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, as well as 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I actually prefer to use Chinese cinnamon. Most American households will use Vietnamese cinnamon. So if you're in the UK or Europe, look for Vietnamese cinnamon. But I tend to prefer Chinese cinnamon because it has a more aromatic, more floral aroma and flavor to it. It's not quite as overwhelming as Vietnamese cinnamon is. Because if we were to use Ceylon cinnamon, come on, in any of our baked goods, they would really taste off because Ceylon cinnamon doesn't really taste like cinnamon to the American palate. My cinnamon is being a little finicky with me today. Damn. There we go, that should be plenty. And 1 teaspoon of ground allspice. Usually I use fresh ground allspice because I typically buy allspice berries, but I didn't have that luxury today because I was out of allspice and all they had was pre-ground. There we go. Alright, and all you do is just whisk it all together until it's nice and evenly incorporated. Then you move on to dealing with the wet ingredients. Alright, now on to the wet ingredients. You will need you will need 6 tablespoons of melted butter, slightly cooled, 1.5 cups of granulated white sugar, 2 eggs slightly beaten, and down here is, well, it should be a 1/4 cup of plain or honey flavored yogurt, but the store didn't have honey flavored, and what I thought was vanilla flavored turned out to be vanilla flavored, so that wouldn't work at all. So instead I decided to use sour cream, which I just added less than maybe half a teaspoon of milk to it to loosen it up a little bit. Alright, so let's get this party started. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's add the butter. Never a tool when I want one. cream. The eggs that I just beat in my, or just lightly whisked in my favorite cauldron cup. You need 2 of them. And 1.5 cups of flour. Or not flour, but sugar, granulated sugar, not caster or superfine, but granulated sugar. And you just simply blitz that together. You know, you can just do this equally as well in a large mixing bowl with a spoon or a whisk. But I pay good money for this ramajama, and it is my favorite kitchen utensil. Just want to get everything nice and incorporated. Oh crap, I almost forgot one more ingredient. The lemon juice. Oh. Alright, so I have just added the lemon juice and stirred it in. And the very next to last step is you simply stir in the dry ingredients just until combined. You never ever want to overwork flour. Otherwise, you end up with a tough bread. So you just really want to stir it in just until combined. Okay, I am probably going to scrape it on the sides and give it one more stir, but that's pretty much the consistency that you're going for. Alright, my witches, so here is the bread. It's not baked yet. What you need to do is you need to pour it into a well-oiled, well-greased, well, oiled rather, 9 by 5 inch loaf pan. And if you want, you're free to add walnuts to it, or even sprinkle the top with a little bit of sugar. But you want to bake it in a 375-degree oven for 55 minutes, or until a skewer stuck in the middle comes out clean with a few moist crumbs attached. And when it's baked, I will come back to you and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, well, this has never happened before in all the years that I've made this recipe, and I'm thinking of perhaps blaming the tin I've used, but after I waited the full 10 minutes to unmold my my zucchini bread to finish cooling on a wire rack, I lost about the last bottom inch of it all across the loaf. So I am left with that. I mean, it still tastes wonderful. It It just looks like crap is all. But it tastes amazing. You know, the recipe's down below in the description box. Maybe let it cool for 20 minutes, perhaps, because that's really unfortunate. It's never happened before. I'm really aggravated about it, because, you know, that's never happened before. And I was really hoping to show you guys a really awesome looking loaf of zucchini bread. In fact, I didn't turn it right side up because it's the bottom half's basically crap, and I wanted to get that out of the loaf pan. But it tastes delicious. You can't even tell there's any zucchini in it. It tastes like cinnamon and allspice and yummy goodness, especially when you add a slice with a nice bit of butter. So until next time, my witches, keep calm and witch on. I'll see you later. If I could recommend only one book on herbal magic until mine is published, it would be this book. So if you need to beg, borrow, or steal for this book, don't use stuff from this book. I'm just kidding. You know, I don't want to get into trouble for recommending thievery, but